Hello, besties. This is going to be maybe a bit of a ramble, maybe a tad bit, but we are going to be discussing the trends that I'm seeing in romance for 2023 and then kind of my predictions from where we're going to go in 2024 and going forward. To cite my expertise, I read like 300 books a year, and usually 200, 250 of that are romance novels. So I'm in the culture. I am part of the zeitgeist. I'm a member of the community. I'm studying. I'm a scholar. So these are just facts. Feel free to tell me all of your thoughts in the comments because I'm honestly so interested in everyone's thoughts about this. And I talked to some friends when preparing for this video. So thank you, Emily and Kaylee, for also giving me some ideas. So what I view is what bled in from 2022 into 2023 was the small town romances. So we saw Catherine Cowles, Elsie Silver, Lucy Score get very popular in 2022. And I think that bled into this year. And I think specifically with Elsie Silver, she helped shift small town into not only the conversation being around like small town romances, but kind of morphing into more cowboy focused small town romances. So we got your ranchers, we got your bull riders, we got the boys with the hats. That's all I know about cowboys. Is that their culture? They got the boots. And we also saw that with Devney Perry and Catherine Cowles in particular, they brought up more romantic suspense. Now, I haven't seen that quite totally take off. I think romantic suspense has always had a place in the romance community. I think there's so many niches in romance. There's always going to be like an undercurrent of these things already happening. And depending on who you are, is whether or not you're like already in that niche and you're writing it forward as it like gets more popular or not. This year, I think we saw the hockey romance has totally taken off. Now, hockey romance has always been kind of, I think, like one of the four pillars of romances since 2011. And I think this has to do, of course, with Elle Kennedy and The Deal, the off-campus series, that has just always kind of been something that crops up in romance. But I feel like people have gotten like hungrier for it. Especially we saw Emily Rath, Liz Tomford, Becca Mack, and now some of them are very separate from one another. I wouldn't say they're a one-to-one comparison. I say as the biggest fangirl of Pucking Around ever. And a lot of their most popular books came out in 2022 and are kind of like bleeding into this year. But I think in particular with Pucking Around, we're already seeing more and more like why choose hockey romances coming out, especially in the indie world. And I think we're going to see even more of that because another one got really popular called Double Pucked by Lauren Blakely. And I saw this book everywhere. I didn't particularly enjoy, but I am noticing that this is the kind of book that is getting popular, and I'm seeing more and more on KU and more on Instagram with all of the romance Instagram girlies. Now, in 2023, I don't think you can talk about romance without mentioning Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing is like the titan of this year, and it's definitely overtaken so much. And I think this has generated a super interest in romantasy specifically. We already had this, obviously, ACOTAR, JLA. We've always had like a hungering for romantasy. But with the mass popularity of Fourth Wing, I definitely think it's even up the ante because even with the popularity of A Court of Thorns and Roses, like Goodreads didn't add a whole category. Like they don't even update the website, but they added a whole category for Miss Rebecca Yarros. just because they were like, well, she's gonna win, and so they gave her a category to win. So I think that already indicates like a super strong shift in what we're seeing. I'm very happy that I've noticed so many more queer forward stories, and especially ones that focus on sapphic stories, because I think there's always been a hungering for MM and a popularity for it, just hasn't been there for sapphic love stories. So I'm loving that I'm seeing it, and not only that I'm seeing it in books that are like FF in particular, but ones that are like MF. Like we're seeing a lot more like bisexual, queer, pansexual heroines in romance novels in general. So I'm loving that I'm seeing like such a wide variety of things represented. Obviously, I think we can do more and I think we can do better, but I am very inspired and like happy to see that these stories are getting a place, and not only getting a place, but gaining a foothold. And we're seeing like massive like fan movement. We have Alexandria Bellaford, who is huge, and of course, Ashley Herring Blake, both of which I would say are probably in the top 20 selling romance novels of the year, and not just in like specific circles. Like I think they're making big waves kind of everywhere. And so I am loving that we're seeing that. Now, I think going forward, I have some predictions. Obviously, if you've talked to me in the last 2 years, I would have told you about Omegaverse because I'm a little obsessed with Omegaverse. So part of me is like scared, but excited to see that we are seeing the emergence of traditionally published Omegaverse. Part of me, terrified. And then we're also seeing, and I think this is more of a prediction, more reverse harem and why choose romances like getting like top billing. Like people don't just want MF monogamous situations. They want it to be delicious. They want his best friend to be involved. I think because of the popularity of Pucking Around specifically, we are going to see so much hockey why choose romance. And not only that, it's going to be hockey why choose romance with a puck pun in the title. I was doing research for upcoming indie releases coming out early 2024. There was already like 6 to 7 of them that had puck-related names in the title. And part of me, like, I loved Pucking Around, but at some point we have to let it die. I love a kitschy, cute romance title. Like, I love that. It's cute. It's part of the genre. I love it. But sometimes I think we take things too far. In 2023, something I noticed it because it started to annoy me, is fake dating is here in such a big way, and I'm just kind of over it. I think we have passed the threshold of good reasons to fake date. There is no more fun reasons. You don't need to. You simply do not need to. I think it's already just such an out there concept, because I feel like if you have self-esteem, like you don't need to fake date anybody. So it's already like something that's hard to sell to me specifically. Just I could not imagine a scenario in which I would need to fake date someone. Even though I wish that this trend could die and that fake dating would be no more, I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more fake dating coming out. And like I said, let it die. Please. I would just much rather see like a marriage of convenience or an arranged marriage, because I feel like that also gives you like forced proximity and just like other delicious things and like family politics. And I just think it brings more to the story. Where fake dating, I feel like you can just predict what the third act breakup is going to be. It's going to be like, well, one of us has stopped thinking it's fake, and the other one's going to be like, no, I told you, like, I didn't want to be in a real relationship, and I'm just done. I'm done. And I've seen that fight play out 45 different ways this year. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm also really interested to know, because as we know, a pretty big player in the indie romance sphere has returned, Miss Gianna Darling, and I think she is like a trendsetter in a lot of ways. I'm interested to see how her releases kind of affect what's going to be popular next year. She has an FF Medusa retelling coming out in February, I believe, and so I'm hoping. I just want more popular indie romance authors to write FF. So I need it. So I'm like, please, Gianna Darling, let's influence this market. And then, of course, back to Fourth Wing is my prediction is we're going to see more dragon or like creature, I was going to call it creature featured romance. And I'm also wondering, like, what is Fourth Wing's sister series? Because I feel like with ACOTAR, you had like JLA, and I feel like there's always like almost like two series kind of like going side by side, but I don't know like who right now is like Rebecca Yaros's like not rival, but just like what's the sister series? Like what are we selling? Is she on her way? So I definitely think we're gonna see someone come up and really rise to that occasion to be like the sister series to Fourth Wing, and I'm hoping it's better. I'm hoping it's better. So these are just some of my thoughts and some of my predictions for romance. And please tell me if you have any thoughts or if you feel like you've seen any trends. This is just something that super interests me. But thank you so much for watching.